Hi, welcome to Give Me the Bible, where God's Word speaks for itself. In continuing our discussion about how the media affects us, I want to address the objection that is so common, especially among Christians, that, well, media doesn't really affect me. You know, you start to try to talk about being more careful with the movies that we watch and the TV that we watch and the music that we listen to. Christians start getting defensive, and even non-Christians too, but it's even more surprising, I guess, when you hear it from Christians. But it's very common for most people when it comes to these things to just think, well, that stuff doesn't bother me. It doesn't affect me. You'll hear certain things like, well, when I listen to the music, I just listen to it for the beat. You know, I love the beat. I don't really listen to the words. I just like the way that it sounds and the beat that is produced, right? Or I just kind of tune out the curse words in movies, and I don't even really notice them anymore. It doesn't really bother me because I kind of just, it's almost like I just bleep them out in my own mind, and so I'm not really affected. Well, let's just break down all of that and just say right away, just stop kidding yourself. If you've been saying that, just stop. Okay, because that's a lie. That's a lie that Satan has told you. It's a lie that Satan has told me on many occasions, and I used to believe it, all right, about myself, that these things didn't really affect me, didn't really bother me, but it's just not true. Just think about it on a logical level. If the media didn't really affect us, why in the world is it such a billion-dollar industry, and I might even venture to say trillion-dollar industry in terms of putting out commercials? Why are there entire fields of study developed to address media marketing, to use media to influence us, to change our minds about people's products that they're selling? Why is it that marriages fall apart many times? Because people's entire view of reality has been shaped and defined by the fairy tale romantic movies that they see. They've grown up seeing that everything works out well and it's happily ever after, and the prince and the princess, well, they never have any problems. That has essentially shaped their thinking and influenced them to think the same thing about their marriage. And so when they undergo problems or issues, well, guess what? They're not ready to face them because they didn't think it was going to happen. And they just start thinking, well, I must not love this person because it's not happily ever after like the movies say. And so I'm out of here. I'm leaving. Media affects us. I had a roommate who just, he was a Christian, but he was always struggling with his faith. He just couldn't, he just was on the fence all the time. And he really didn't feel close to God. And then when you look at his movie collection, it's just so full of just R-rated movies everywhere. You know, the music he listened to was just hardcore rap, just full of anger and hatred and curse words and just nastiness. And I'm thinking, well, no wonder you feel so distant from the Lord. Your mind is being warped and perverted. That's what the media does. Okay, that's what sinful media can especially do, is warp and pervert. And for those who say, well, I just block out the cuss words, the Bible has a word for that, okay? And it's called a seared conscience. It means that your conscience has essentially been listening to sin, been watching sin on TV or movies for so long that it doesn't even bother you anymore. That's a very bad place to be. Ephesians chapter 3 talks about that. Ephesians chapter 4. As soon as I can get there, Ephesians chapter 4, it talks about their hearts in verse 19 becoming callous. Okay, and I think it's 1 Timothy chapter 4 in verse 4 maybe, that talks about their consciences being seared as with a branding iron. Okay, that's not a good thing. And I hear some Christians say, well, I don't like the cuss words, and so it doesn't affect me because I know it's wrong. I know it's bad. Well, I like this analogy, again, from Joshua Harris in one of his books. He said, if I eat chocolate cake every day, and I say that I don't like the chocolate cake, does that mean that chocolate cake's not going to affect my body and I'm not going to get fat? No. It's still chocolate cake. It's still bad for you, whether you like it or not. Same thing with the media. If we say, well, I don't like the cuss words and I know they're wrong, that doesn't mean anything. We're still taking it into our bodies. That's still affecting us, our minds and our hearts. Paul had issues with the Corinthians in 1 Corinthians chapter 8, where they thought it was okay to eat meat sacrificed to idols because, well, they knew that wasn't really meat to real gods. They knew the real God, but Paul warned them. He said, okay, that doesn't matter. You can still fall. Take heed lest you fall, 1 Corinthians 10 and verse 12. And we got to do the same. I hope that's helpful, and I'll see you next time.